going back to the original part of this conversation, we don't have any right way of going about things, but we're all acting as if there's only one way to do things, and we're all looking at that one way, and we're all so fucking unhappy at the fact that we can't obtain that one way because it's not according to our interior makeup.
Yeah.
That there's no real true way to get to happiness unless you're truly doing what it is that you like to do. So if that's that street shit, if that's what you know, and that's what you're privy to, and you're okay with the consequences and repercussions, then who the fuck am I as somebody that is taking a different road to be like, nigga, how dare you? How should I turn my nose up to you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, my nigga, you're living your truth. You know what I mean? And hopefully you live long enough to find another truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But in the meantime,
Hopefully you live long enough to find another truth.
bro, you don't have just one. My nigga, your truth continuously evolves, my nigga.
Hell
Like,
showing out today.
there's more. There's plenty more. We just got to stay alive long enough and hope that we don't do enough dirt that we have so much demons on our soul that we can't, come back from that shit. But yeah, my bad.
No.
I kind of
Nah,
went down the whole road on that one. But yeah,
But
that's it.
I think that's what I was getting to that JLX point. So I'm
Yeah.
listening to written testimony last night cooking, and one of Hove's bars that stood out to me initially hit me in the face last night.
Yeah.
That guilt trip ain't gonna work. Don't put your luggage on we. You ain't keeping that same. You didn't keep that same energy for the DuPonts and Carnegies. We was in your cotton fields. Now we sitting on bees. That's on me. Like that the shit that people celebrate. The shit that gets enshrined and get to Carnegie Hall and all these different things that get named after people that are built on like crime. Like a lot of their fortune and their family fortune is built on some sort of crime. That something that's identified and known as a crime, and we collectively celebrate it as a country.
Bro.
And now people like your Freeway Ricky Ross, if somebody don't build a statue of that nigga, like I get it. They're like, oh crack, he's like that nigga figured out some shit. I know that's controversial because it's like it killed our people. I'm
Touching on that part.
I'm not touching upon that part, and you probably can't compartmentalize it the way I'm trying to, but it's the same sort of regard when you talk about some of the Rockefellers and people like that we know we collectively know, and we are enter in discussion about these people's legacies that is built on the displacement, the murder, the torture, the rape,
There's plenty of blood on these hands.
plenty of blood on the hands and the money, and they're enshrined and talked about and is so far removed, and we discussed their legacy.
We talked about that. One of those times when I was talking about the what Jay-Z means and how he could transition the way that he did. Besides the fact of looking at all business as what you've been doing as far as in the drug game, but also the connections that you make. The higher you go up, y'all connect as if y'all have been distant brothers for the longest because of there's no difference between the type of shit you had to do on the streets from what the fuck they're doing in this white collar shit. You know what I mean? Like none of that shit is different from each other. It's all under the table dirty shit, bro. Like it's all muddy. You know what I mean? All of that shit it has a combination of that, and there's a lot of people that are casualties of that war. But as long as you just have to, as long as you're on the same side of that, you're gonna have business partners for life, and that's what Jay-Z has. Like Jay-Z is so connected off of a lot of people that have the exact same mindset, and when he walks into a room, it don't matter what he look like, what he's known for, blah blah blah. When he walks in that room and he starts talking, they are speaking the exact same language. And that shit's impressive.
It's a different sort of gear and a different sort of space to occupy. And again, people's truths and perspectives don't have shit to do with me. So I get people's disdain for capitalism as a whole, and then how they group Hove into that and don't fuck with them. I get it completely. However, I go, are we not looking at the landscape of what continues to take place in this particular country? The war that exists on a particular group of people still, and the resources we'll need to obtain to even have a fighting chance in this war. That's how we get here. Our cousin Shay, I love you, Shay. She called, talked to Shay. I talked to Shay for that's my girl. Like, that's my girl for real. She knows it. But I called her. I was just missing. I think because I was supposed to go to DC for a couple of days or so just to go clear my head, reset. Because it's a different reset when you out in Virginia. Not even DC. They live in Virginia. So I do too. It's that the air hit a little different. It's far enough from the city to where you can like be off the grid, but then you can just drive in the city and get into some shit. So it's a really good sort of duality when you out there. But we talked for about an hour yesterday morning, or was it day before, Friday morning, and just catching up, shooting the shit, and we somehow we stumbled into the conversation of faith and religion and all this shit. And I was explaining to her sort of, she asked, she was like, yo, she's like, I know a written testimony mean a little something different to you. So talk to me because you've been on that. God is, or black people are the chosen people for sure. Like, what does that mean to you? And I was like, yo, on the pure, remove everything you want to talk about and debate with your parents and grandparents and all that shit about their affinity and their tether and why they're tethered to religion. Black people gotta be the chosen people for one simple fact alone.
We're still here.
We're still in this motherfucker with everything that's thrown at us. With everything that's thrown at us. Anyone that hasn't gone to the Smithsonian of African American history in DC, please go and get because it happened to me. The way that shit is set up, and you get to the third floor, and it's all centered around westernized religion and what it's meant to the spirit of black American people. If it don't change you, I don't know what will. And I say that because it helped me stop doing that little silly entitled shit that comes with our generation, where we've had so much access and such a platform to experience shit that it makes it easier to look down on our parents who worked for 30 years and had a 401k and made sure we had health care and all that shit, bruh. You little entitled fucks.
Healthcare is
stop it. Because it's not the play. It's so not the play. And I was telling her that for a specific reason of just how we can relate and build with our parents and enter into the next evolution of our relationships with them and have these healthy conversations in and around religion. And this goes back to Fee and Reeg. They were telling me that they found their therapist through the church. And I was like, bro, that's what I'm talking about. That's evolution. The fact that the church in therapy is the healthy progression. Cause that's a layup. That should have been happening for years, where there's so many people that need to uncover so much shit, but the church was sort of giving a salute or a green light to disown or dismiss the concept of therapy. So there was always this sort of partition between entering into faith and then doing the work, right? But now, if those two things are together, guess who becomes really unstoppable? And you hear it in the Big Sean record. You hear it in a Dot record. Not to say that we know for sure that the niggas is going to therapy, but it sounds like it.
Shit.
It sounds like Cole be in therapy, nigga. Like
shit, Jay. It
sounds like Hove be in therapy. Somebody talking to somebody to go do the work on themselves and take ownership for what is the faith without work. And gee, how the fuck did we get here?
Shit.
It's the 100.
Nah, cause it's the 100, bro. We going on one, bro. That shit's seriously though.